Hello, Texas FCA. It's Coach Keenum. I've got the whiteboard behind me. I know you were expecting that. I'm in Oklahoma, if you can believe that. I'm here with John Odell, the venerable, the fossil, the old gaseous animal that he is, me and him both, to talk about FCA. And I can tell you, as former teammates, when we were in the same region together, he and I was that team that whipped everybody within the rules.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Wade Hopkins was probably one of the biggest cheaters that we ever competed against because we beat him, but only because he changed the rules.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That trophy should have been in our office. There's no question.
Absolutely.
There's no question. Well, John has been on staff with FCA for 45 years. Grew up a part of FCA. His dad was a big FCA coach, and he loves this ministry. And I wanted to catch him before he steps into his retirement here for too long. He's seen everything about FCA, from camp at Estes to Black Mountain, and to growing a vibrant ministry here in the state of Oklahoma as their state director for many years. And he's a good friend of FCA. And I've asked him to do a couple of things, but we're going to start out with vision. I mean, you don't do what he's done and accomplish the things in Oklahoma that they've been able to accomplish, serve as a regional VP and some other things, without being able to share a vision. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about that, John. I think you said call it building your ministry.
Right.
Tell us what you think.
All right. Hey, Steve, first off, thanks. Steve's a great friend. Love his friendship and love his work ethic. We go back a long ways. We didn't even know our paths crossed. My senior year in college, we played at McMurray when he was a freshman, and we won that game, by the way.
I think he thumped us pretty good.
But it was we, of course, and I think that's what life is that in your young life you really don't understand the paths that you cross as you work towards the future, because a lot of things and a lot of people that you meet in your earlier days, they will come to be a great help to you. They may end up coaching your children, your grandchildren. They may end up becoming one of your financial supporters. They may end up becoming your FCA sponsor or your FCA coach within the school that you're working in. So Steve asked me a question today, and so my question to you is, how do you build a ministry? And I want to keep it short and I want to keep it simple. I believe that you build a ministry through people.
Don't mind me.
I will not mind you one bit. You build it through people. And when you start building the ministry through people, when you take people, you need to give the ministry away. They need to have ownership in the ministry of FCA. The FCA ministry it's not yours and it's not mine. It belongs to Christ. So give it away. Give ownership to other people. Allow them to walk the walk with you. So how do you build a ministry? You start off with people. And as you work with people and work through people, you're going to start developing relationships. So write that down, Steve. Relationships.
Yes, sir.
And as you build relationships, you start investing in people in a little bit deeper walk. It may be an opportunity to have a Bible study. It may be an opportunity to disciple. It may be an opportunity to just grow in your friendship. And so as you develop a relationship, then you build your ministry. So I see building your ministry is people, relationships that turn into ministry. And when you're able to invest in people, you develop a relationship. And when you develop a relationship, you develop a ministry. The ministry of FCA is never about me, and it's never about you, and it's never about Steve. And when you ever take on the attitude that this ministry is about me, you're going to struggle and you're going to fail probably. I always try to keep the point that, is my vision what God's vision is for this ministry? I want to follow His lead. I want to follow His spirit And it's His Spirit motivates me, encourages me, holds me accountable, then it allows me to build a ministry that He wants and not what I want. But anyway, that's just another part of it, another aspect of it. But I'm a firm believer in if you invest in people, you're going to develop a relationship. If you develop a relationship, you're going to build a ministry. And when you build a ministry, it's a lot of fun. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of effort to build relationships. Some of the things that I try to do is, I read a book called the 10-second rule. And if God places on my heart to contact someone, whether it's a coach or whether it's a donor or whether it's a volunteer, I want to follow up with that literally within 10 seconds. I will pick the phone up and I'll call somebody. If I'm sitting at my desk, I might just get out a note card and an ink pen and just write them a note of encouragement. I may text them, I may email them, but if God puts somebody on my heart, I wanted to immediately respond to why is God putting them on my heart. And you never know what that phone call, that text message, that email, or that letter that you would take time to write, how that will impact the people that you work with. And those are the tools that I believe that you need to do when you're developing relationships with people. You have to be willing to go deep. One of the craziest things I have realized in FCA is that usually I'm the one that initiates the relationship. I'm the one that initiates the breakfast meeting. I'm the one that initiates the luncheon. Because a lot of people, they don't think about developing a relationship with me because I'm working at developing that relationship with them. And so you're going to be in this ministry, if you're not willing to give more than you take, then you're going to have a hard time developing relationships. You've got to be willing to give at all times.
I don't think I spelled initiate right, but we'll get back to clean that up.
I have no idea how to spell.
Okay, when you were talking 10-second rule, you said if God puts somebody on your heart, you need to reach out right then.
Yes.
And you talked about phone call, text, writing a note,
Email, whatever it might be.
Do you treat generationally? Do you treat your relations different? In other words, if you got somebody that's our age, are you more apt to write them a note? And if you're talking about somebody that maybe it's your son's age or your grandkid's age, it might be a text or an email. Does that play into what you do there? Because I know we've got staff all different ages, and communication's kind of different.
Yeah, that's a great question. To me, I text. I'm not afraid to text. I'm not afraid to email. I'm not afraid to call. I'm not afraid to write a letter. But I think what Steve is saying drives home the point that it is a little bit generational. I know that as I've learned to build a ministry, and I know that some of you guys may laugh at this or smile, but it's the importance of looking sharp when you work FCA. Sometimes that might be tucking your shirt in. Sometimes that might be shining your shoes. Sometimes that might be wearing slacks. And then there are other times that I may be going into a meeting where I have jeans on today, or I have an open collar on today, or I may not have my shirt tail tucked in. But I think a lot of times, depending on what generation you're working with, you need to be sensitive to what is maybe offensive to them and not offensive to them. So, Steve, the one thing I've realized is that writing a note, a handwritten note to any generation works. I don't text a lot of people older than me, but my age, I will send a text, but it's not a text of, hey, I love you and I'm thankful for you. I'd rather do that in a phone call. So probably my top two ways is a phone call and writing a letter, and then I will text or email.
Well, one of the things you said, you talked about investing. And to me, investment takes something from me. I remember David, I remember where it was, David needed to present an offering and somebody offered to let him use their grain or this, and he goes, how can I do that when it costs me nothing?
Right.
If you're going to invest, it should cost you something.
And it does. It does. And that's why I was kind of sharing a quick point is that a lot of the people that you deal with, they're looking for you to reach out to them more than you should be looking at them to reach out to you.
You got to be the initiator. You're
Absolutely.
exactly right. You got to be the one doing it. So if you're going to build a ministry, basically, when John's talking about vision, the vision is to see people. Am I right? And in those people, you got to develop the relationships, and you do that by investing yourself in them in whatever form that means. And from that, that's where your ministry grows, because taking care of people is really ministry.
It's what it's all about. Steve and I were visiting earlier today, and I told, this is my last week of work with FCA, and this is my 45th year of work. And Vicky, my wife, asked me, she goes, "Why are you leaving so early and why are you working so late?" And I said, "Vic, that's my work habit." And so I told Steve, I said, when I work Friday, when I go out the store Friday, is my last full day of work. I'll probably leave here at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And when I lock the door, I can honestly look back in my life and say, you know what? I gave every day my best in working FCA because I want us to finish strong. And that would be my encouragement to you. You have to work every day. You have to work hard every day. And if you don't, you're going to miss an opportunity to build your ministry.
Well, the last thing I'm going to say, guys, this takes a lot because you're pouring out. And I know we spent some time talking about being poured into. So take care of yourself spiritually to keep yourself in a position to do this very thing. John, thank you. Appreciate your time. God bless you, Texas FCA. Coach Keenan, we'll see you soon.
All right.